November 25th. Boxing's brightest stars shine on one knockout night.
He is down!
The Mexican monster, undefeated superstar David Benavidez.
Benavidez unloading! What more do you want?
Defends his title against undefeated Demetrius Andrade.
Andrade explodes!
And Jermall Charlo returns to take on Jose Benavidez Jr.
Gets rocked with another right hand!
David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade and Jermall Charlo versus Jose Benavidez Jr. Saturday, November 25th, live on pay-per-view.
Basketball fans, it's KG here. Hoop season is back, and I can't wait to kick off this season with the King of Sportsbook. This season, take advantage of BetMGM's first bet offer. When you place your first wager on basketball using my code KG1500, yes, KG1500, you got to register an account and make your first wager. If you lose, you get your stack back in bonus bets up to $1,500. Start the NBA season off right with KG Certified and the authorized gaming partner of the NBA, BetMGM. Your boy. Man, let's get it, man. I'm here today with T-Squares, and you already know it's KG Certified, baby. Let's get it, baby.
Let's do it.
Yeah. T-Squares, good to see you, man. How you been, man?
I've been good, but I gotta say, I gotta start off with an apology to you and to your fans. Because the last time I was on here, I convinced you to jump in with me into the Jordan Poole. We went straight into the deep end.
That and the Chargers.
Well, listen, hold on. The Chargers are doing just fine.
No, man.
The Chargers are doing just fine.
I am disappointed. Listen, I'm still on it. We're not galloping like we was galloping. You know what I'm saying? We on it.
We're getting ready to bolt up, Kev.
Okay. I'm gonna believe you, T-Squares. I'm with you. And the Jordan Poole, those are the two. Yeah.
Feel bad about Jordan Poole. Listen,
man.
I knew that there would be the wanton carelessness in his game where he'd like get the ball into the paint, dribble out to the three-point line, turn around, just chuck it up, and Kristaps would bat it away. I knew that was coming. But I just expected more shots out of this man and more of them to go in. He's averaging like 7 points a game, which isn't true, but that's how I'm seeing it because we wanted a lot more. And I feel so bad for you, for me, for everyone that took that bet along with me. I took that bet. We're in trouble. It's early in the season, but it ain't looking good.
No.
I mean, is it like a mindset thing with him? What do you think it is over there?
So what I was expecting him to come out and look like was, okay, I'm out of Golden State. I'm out of the structure.
Yeah.
Man, everything in the NBA is structured.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. But the two stars that are hands down in our league that we know of, Kuzma and Jordan Poole are the Wizards' main two guys.
Absolutely.
They're on all the tickets. You look outside, they're on the billboards, all this other stuff. So I thought having that freedom of, I got 3-4 people in front of me. He had, I mean, it is what it is when you come to a machine that is already running, right? I thought Jordan Poole was going to give me a lot more of showmanship.
Absolutely.
Not arrogance, because the shit he did on Porzingis was just arrogance. I thought he thought that he was in shoot around or at the park in the summer and just like, he
was playing a video game at that point.
Bro, he's too laid back for me right now. I think he needs to just pick it up, take it a little more serious. Yeah. And be a little more professional if I'm being 100, man. Nobody in their right mind. I'm looking at the guys behind the camera. No, y'all can't see this, but if I'm watching these guys in Equinox playing, I don't think Isaac would just be like, you know what I'm saying? Just like he would be like, okay, come and get a pick, or you know what I'm saying? Something. Yes. I just think he needs to pick it up a little bit. I don't think he doesn't look like he's taking it as serious, not to even say that, but I was expecting, just like you, at least from the FGA perspective of getting shots up and just running ragged.
I was looking at him to thrive at this opportunity, to thrive at this chance. Like, he left the situation he was in. Now it's like, it's my show. It's the Jordan Poole show. Let's go. And as you said, it's like, it's not clicking right now. And maybe it's early. Maybe he's still getting comfortable there, but I expected a heck of a lot more, and I do apologize for bringing that up. I'm defending the Chargers, though. I'm defending the Chargers to my grave.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Chargers. We're going to go back and forth. I want to say this about Jordan Poole, too, though. It is they're not one of the better teams in the league.
Not even close, no.
So I like to say that a lot of those guys are young guys that are trying to put down their stamp. They're trying to create this brand of who they are, on the backs of the Wizards. Yeah. And it is what it is. So I'm not looking for the Wizards to do too much. They don't have a bunch of expectations this year. I don't think the fan base is all that. But the one thing, the constant is that if you was to go over there and I was to go over here, we're saying is that we want to see the Jordan Poole show, the Kuzma show. If y'all ain't gonna make the playoffs, then run it up. Make it, monk it up for all the good teams. Right.
Turn you on the TV.
So I'm looking for him to do that, and I got to remember, this team's a bad team. Bad teams are not going to give you much, but obviously we don't have a bunch of equity into the Wizards, but that's part of it too.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to throw out here, man, is that early on, I'm seeing a bunch of teams, seems like at least from rhythm-wise, so just take this example from me. AD.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole. I'm looking at some guys in the league, Kawhi. I'm looking at guys look like they need like 10 games under them to get going.
Yeah.
Bron looks like he was ready to be shot at the gun day one, right? KD looked like he was ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the league just look like it's like hurt early. I don't think our league is in good shape as far as fitness-wise. I'm seeing guys like Bradley Beal hadn't even touched the floor yet.
I know.
There's some guys that are you seeing the same things?
Well, it's definitely different teams have different attitude towards it. As you said, LeBron came in ready to go. And we talked about the Lakers the last time I was here about how those first few games really mattered for them to sort of set their mark.
I don't like 38, 39 minutes.
It's unsustainable for a man that age. Same thing with KD and Phoenix. It's unsustainable to play him for that long, but they need to with the injuries that they have. And then other teams like the Clippers, I think they kind of knew they were getting James Harden, so they were like, all right, let's slow roll this team and get this ready. They don't care about November, December basketball. They care about being there in June. I think so. At least that's the way it's come out. And then you look at Luka, who we got mad at the past few years for being the slow burn guy. He came in out of shape and then played his way into shape. Mavericks come in, fire. They're on fire, and they're winning these games early that they didn't win last few seasons. They were 500 or below the last few seasons because they would lose these early games. Now they're coming out on fire. So I think it's kind of the mindset. We didn't see Boston come in out of shape. We saw Boston come in ready to roll, and they won a bunch of games early. We saw Minnesota come in ready to roll. They're elbowing people in the mouth and upsetting people left and right. So to me, it's a mindset thing. And to me, some teams came in knowing we don't care about November, not don't care, but we aren't looking towards November, December to play our best. We're looking towards that in June. And some teams come out and trying to lay their stamp out right now. And then there are some teams, Milwaukee, they're figuring it out. It's a new team. Yeah. They're still trying to figure out what works for us, what plays. They switched the defensive scheme completely a few weeks in because the players came to the coach and said, let's do it this way. So some teams are figuring it out. Some teams came in with a different mindset, but you're absolutely right. There's a handful of teams that are like, well, this is preseason to them, and that's kind of disappointing.
And forget Adrian's up there. It's a new system, new coaches. He got Dame, new everything. So, stuff like that, slow burns and things of when it comes to high IQ teams, especially with really good coaches, like the Clippers, I can understand that. Yeah. And I can see them focusing on more continuity, more locker room, more cohesiveness. And because those guys know each other. Those four guys actually that the Clippers have, those four stars, they know each other's not only game, but personally. Yes. And I think that's one that's going to overtime. I'm just worried about LeBron's early on surge. I thought like Jordan Poole, I thought AD was going to come out with, but history tells us that's not the case, and that he needs about 20 games, 25 games. I think he's already sitting out with something. I saw him. And there's other parts of that Lakers team that isn't performing the way we thought. Like Austin Reeves is not coming out the way we thought he would. Gabe Vincent, he's the opposite of LeBron. He left his talents in Keep it real, South Beach. Austin Reeves is in the scouting report now. So last year I did not know Austin Reeves. Correct. So I can sit him in the corner and he can, and when I run out, he can take me off the dribble and get the lay, right? Now people are paying attention. Man, not only that, but I know your game. Now I'm looking at Austin Reeves as, what did you bring back this year? How did you get better? Not just playing with USA, but how did you get better? You know what I'm saying? So he's in the scouting report now. Vincent, I'm looking for him to have a big year. I wanted it to happen already, but it hasn't happened yet. But again, who knows? They're trying to figure each other out, but it's too much pressure on LeBron right now for an 82-game season. The guy is Megatron. The guy is unbelievable. You cannot put an expectation in front of him that he can't accomplish. We've seen that now. He's proven it. But this, at age, 39, for him to play this much, it's insanity. So I'm a little worried about that. I think they need to sort of figure some things out in the long run, but AD would certainly help. Hey, how do you, man, I don't want to How you get, man?
Well, I got a question for you talking about slow burn and stuff, because we have a couple of teams that have come together. When you guys came into Boston together, how did you treat those first few games? Because you guys hadn't played with each other really in the professional setting. So how did that? You guys came out and started attacking immediately. Was there any of that? Was the practice different, the preseason different than it is now to sort of get you guys ready, or was it a mindset thing?
Oh man. So how do I set this up? So when everybody met in Boston, ironically, we were all at like pivotal points in kind of our own individual lives and careers. And a lot of the goals aligned. Posey came to us, which was a shock. We didn't know that he was going to be there. Eddie House was a shock. We had all experience playing against Eddie, knew what kind of player he was. I hadn't played with TA and Perk and played against those guys. But I can say that when we all sat at our dinner table, and whether we was at Paul's house, my house, whoever's house, we spoke about the same things, just from Ray's perspective, from Doe. And they didn't really know more than, obviously the veterans knew, but they was on the same, hey, I want to win it, I want to.
Yeah.
So we never had an issue when it was about how we're going to win it. And then we had I say this all the time, man, Doc Rivers we was a reflection of our coach. Our coach get on TV, he was articulate, he was bright, he was telling the man behind closed doors, man. You know what I'm saying? He was, Doc from Chicago, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he was a player that got out of Chicago and actually went on, and to get out of Chicago, it takes steps, and you got to be a certain player. So when he coached us with that mentality. We was hard heads. We was a group that you can coach hard. We was a group that actually listened. And then our leaders were professionals. Yeah. And we didn't use any excuses. Yeah. And I can say, man, when we came together in Boston, we was all about that one goal. And
from the start.
From the jump. Yeah. Like, we did the famous press conference. Right after that, we go into Doc's office, and the four of us are talking about. Yep. And then Doc tells us the infamous story about the duck boat and says he's from the future. And then he, you know what I mean? But you have to be on the same page. You have to have the same desire. You have to have the same qualities and be on that same page, or you find yourself, if you're not all on that same page, you find yourself doing this.
So now we have that sort of this generation's version of that, with now Harden going to the Clippers. And as you said, those guys are friends off the court, so they know each other, they're excited. I believe they have a goal. But my question now comes to, as you said, Doc, your coach sort of showed you the way here. Do you think Ty Lue has that, where he can close the doors and be like, let's get stuff going?
So not only do I know that, I'm almost 99.9 sure that he can. Yeah. So what's dope about Lou is that he was assistant coach for a while, to where he got to sit back and take notes. Yeah. But he's seeing talent play together. So he got that perspective. Then he actually becomes head coach and then has to coach probably arguably one of the most greatest generation talents to a championship. Yep. They win it. Yep. So now he has the experience. He brings it to the Clippers. He's coaching Kawhi and PG and the rest of the Clippers in that same light, right? He gets talent now. Westbrook. Now you got Harden. I think with T. Lue, it's about health. It's going to be about patience. And it's going to be about chemistry more than anything. He's probably not blocked out all outside noise, and he's in his lab and he's cooking. And he's going to come up with something that is perfect for his situation. And he's going to try to put those guys in the best situation that they can not only gel quicker, but he's big on, okay, if the guy hits this shot from half court, we're in practice. Or, hey, we all, T-squares, meet us at the boat. He's that guy. He's a locker room guy. He's a player, so he knows how to get guys and rally them up. I look for him to, play the back, play the shadows. He ain't tripping if it ain't a bunch of buzz on them, because he cooking. T. Lue is an understudy or a pick off. You know how you got Pat Riley. Then Pat Riley comes down. You got the Van Gundys, and then you got Tibbs. And
Spoelstra,
You know what I'm saying? George Karl got a whole tree that you can go through, right? Pop tree is crazy, right? Pop got goddamn GMs under his tree. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that to say that
he's got WNBA winning coaches
straight
in his
up.
tree.
That's what
He's got everything. Yeah.
He's across the board. Yeah. Doc has something like that with Sam Cassell, T. Lue, pieces that you can look back and they kind of mirror. So he comes from the same kind of cloth of yesteryear and that traditional. And I just look at it like you said, man. That was a great analysis too. I think that's one of them joints where, just like Grandma, she put that ingredients on there, then you put it on there, you just turn it on low, and that thing just simmer.
I brought it up because I have a lot of questions about this team coming at it from a betting perspective. Because, like, you know, if we're playing a video game, it's like, well, that's a team. Like, that's a team that I'd love to play with. You know, how are you going to cover this team? Like, they can do anything you want them to do. But then when the personalities come into it, when the coaching comes into it, that's why I'm asking you these questions. Because then my next one is to not talk forever about the Clippers, but this is huge for me. James Harden coming out and saying, I don't play in a system, I am the system. And, like, I know that was just kind of a throwaway line by him, but he sat there in his introductory press conference with the Clippers saying, what happened in Philly? Well, they tried to put me in a system. I don't play in a system. I am the system. And now he's going into a role where, like, he might have to play in a system. You're just talking about ingredients. We're trying to all work together. And so was that just a throwaway line to you? Is that his mindset? Do you think when he gets in, Kawhi's like, this is what we're doing? Like, you know, how does that – just the personalities to me I have so many questions about.
So if I'm obviously, he made a comment, and he said it. What I took from that is saying that whatever system they had and whatever is working, they're going to implement him into that. Yeah. And just like when I was explaining to Paul was like, how's it going to work? I was like, well, think about it. The rebound comes off the board. Zoo kicks it to whoever. All four of those guys can handle the ball. Yeah. All four of those guys are used to having the ball, and all four of those guys can exhaust the ball. So they're going to need Big Zoo, so it don't even matter. Whoever I feel like out of all four of them can play make. I watched him against the Knicks. I watched him. I don't know if y'all watched that game. Did y'all watch him against the Knicks?
Absolutely.
He didn't shoot the ball. He hasn't been shooting the ball. He hasn't been working out. He hasn't been in the training camp. So he has no flow, no rhythm. Yeah. Imagine if he had just coming in there, just having just an okay rhythm where he was just taking certain shots. It would have had guys had to run out on him. Yeah. Now he gets into creating. So when he says he's the system, I think that James Harden has been in numerous systems to where the coaches have adjusted to him versus the team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think T. Lue's going to have to find a happy median. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the Clippers were iron glass before they got here or they was unbeatable. Yeah. But you definitely put a presence like that on your roster. You have to find what works for him and what works for you, and then try to actually put that in. I'm eager to see how this is going to work for everybody involved, because if they can get this right, I think this is scary for LA. I'm just seeing how much LA the Lakers are top heavy with Bron. Yeah. And Bron's on the way out. Yes. We don't know what that window looks like. Only he knows. But if Bron left right now, if you take Bron's 39 minutes and everything.
And his presence.
I think the Lakers are over. I don't know if I'm being dead ass. Yeah. He had to go in another gear to, I think AD was, a little more active in the Orlando game, but man.
And they've spent stuff to get this team that they have, so they can't really rebuild on the fly if LeBron left. So I'm right there with you. But also the Clippers are building that new arena. So now is the time to take over, so to speak. So it's a huge year for them.
They say invest when interest rate is high, right? They say it's higher than ever right now. The Clippers are making the proper investments right now, and it's almost like you can look over the hill and see like the takeover. I get it, it's a Laker town. I get it, the history of Los Angeles, but the Clippers are getting ready to carve out their own little niche. So if they could figure this out by like Christmas and going into December with a I don't anticipate James Harden looking like this. I anticipate him at some point getting a rhythm, being aggressive, coming into.
They'll click.
Man, listen, if you can get that energy that you had in the Lob City, remember Lob City? Remember how the Clipper joint was jumping like Jordan?
Absolutely.
Man, that shit was jumping like jump, man. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Man, if they can get back to that, and they can. Still LA, still Clipper land, they fans
LA's
are
a winner's town.
It
is a winner's town.
And you know what, too? I want that.
Yeah.
I want that, man, because now it makes it even more stronger storyline, narrative, and all that,
Can we talk about investment for a second? Because we can talk about the Clippers and the great teams that are out there, but you brought up one team I want to talk about, and sort of those teams that we've played a couple of games about, first 3 weeks of the NBA season. We've seen these teams come out. Some teams are doing some things well, some aren't. And we see some teams that are just sort of missing a little bit, missing a little something. And I want to know if you think some teams need to invest right now, because trades can be made whenever. I came on here, I talked about how great the OKC Thunder were. I still think they're going to hit that over.
Yep.
They're having trouble with the big man. Chet Holmgren's great, but they need a big boy. I thought they were going to get Robert Williams before he went down with an injury, but they need kind of a big boy in there to help them with the rebounding side of things. But the team that surprised me the most has been those New York Knicks that you just brought up. They're excellent defensively, one of the tops in the league in all those defensive rating numbers. Excellent at rebounding the ball. Mitchell Robinson on the offensive glass is unbelievable. They're excellent on all things you want them to be from a Tom Thibodeau team, but they're one of the worst shooting teams in the league, one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Julius Randle's having a real tough time getting going here. They do so many things well, yet they're losing a couple of these games they should win because they aren't equally balanced. So do you think the Knicks right now floating around with the Josh Harts and Jalen Brunsons, and there's so much that this team could do you think there's an opportunity there for them to dive in on something, or they got to run with what they got and still figure things out? Because I think they're a piece away from being not a contender like Boston, but definitely a top 4 contender in the Eastern Conference.
Man, the Knicks, the Cavaliers.
Cavaliers are a fun team.
OKC.
Yeah.
We said the Clippers already.
Yeah.
And there's one more that I'm leaving out. I don't want to say the Bulls.
Ooh.
Okay? So the teams I just named, to me, seem to, something is missing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched the Cavaliers. Cavaliers are super dope on paper. I don't know if you, Garley came back the other night, but something's missing. You mentioned the Knicks. I watched the Knicks, and yes, something is just not consistent. It's just something's off. So I totally know what you mean when you say that.
Julius, so close.
Julius Randle, to me, looks at times to be trying too hard. And I say that with respects to wanting to do well.
Yeah.
And I watched him last year go on a tear. I think it may have been 20 games right at the end of the season to where they needed those games, and he stepped up. I think it's times where, and I'm just, when I watch the games, I watch it from IQ. I watch it from coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I'm seeing him come into offense where it's a flow, and he'll just go into the bag.
Yeah.
The flow of the offense ain't even came down. He might just swing, and get to him and then stop, and then he got 9 players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like if he goes more into playmaking, get to the cup and know that, he's going to get people here and distribute, I think it opens up things. Now you get Grimes hitting shots. You got Barrett. You get other guys. Yeah. Now when those guys are kind of going, now here comes your offense. Take a little time, patience. I think he exhausts the ball a little bit too much. And then at times where I think Tibbs needs to call some plays or put him in situations. I would love to see him be more trail 3. But a lot of times, Robinson gets the rebound and he's the first big down.
Yeah.
And they play kind of 4 out, 1 in. I think, Julius Randle's his strength is at the elbows and at those little sweet spots where he can use the backboard, he can use a face-up J. I would go a little bit more traditional. I would go to my little mid-ranges if I was him. I'd take some little easy ones, see it go in. Yeah. Get you about, 8 to 10 points from mid-range. Then if you got a trail 3, shoot a 3. If it's in rotation, shoot a 3. But, I think too, man, when I watch Julius Randle, he doesn't look like he wants to be there. I'm just being honest. He doesn't look like he's all the way connected. And when he gets frustrated, he kind of goes off into a rim. And the Knicks are going to go how Julius Randle goes.
I believe that too, man. I mean, they've come so close. They held Boston in that first game to a really close game. They held the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee to a really close game. I think the Knicks can contend. They're just missing that piece. But I do want to talk about the Timberwolves and how well they've done. Nuggets first loss of the season, Timberwolves. Celtics first loss of the season, Timberwolves. We talked about Ant-Man the last time I was here, taking over, going Super Saiyan and taking that next step. But we're seeing guys, this team's really clicking. And we said that we didn't know if they had a team build that was correct. We said we might want to move one of the big men because it's not going to all flow. It's flowing. It's flowing early. You got to be impressed so far.
It's flowing because Ant-Man's pushing the buttons and he's driving it. I think everybody's kind of following his lead, following his energy. When they played Boston, he was
unstoppable.
Not only unstoppable, but it felt like he was trying to make a mark. Like, y'all say that these the 2 best in the league. Well, I'm young, I'm this.
he was just overly aggressive.
Yeah.
He was the alpha. He came off like the alpha in that. Even though I got a lot of respect for Tay and Jay Brown over there, I thought he asserted his alpha on that game. You saw that.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the Nuggets. You know, he's. I told y'all this, man. Luka. Well, I said this before even the year started that I had him on the list just on how he was working in the summer, man.
Yeah.
Like he was working at a high clip, and I think, just what I was seeing from the stuff that he was doing in USA basketball, it was just calling for a good season or potential to be Cats having a decent season. It'd be about health with them.
Yeah.
I want them to do well. I seen the McDaniel kid, they got him signed. Got good energy there. Now it's about, keeping that group together. Rudy's figuring it out. I think he's got to figure out his spots. I think that coach got to figure out that rotation.
With Rudy, they have the best defensive rating in the league right now. So it's some parts are working.
It works until you get into like a Golden State where you got if Draymond's playing 5 and you got Rudy guarding a 4, and it's difficult for him to move and all that. And then 2, I think while these other teams are not in rhythm, this is where you can actually get good wins. You can get wins now. Guys ain't all the way in shape. That first 2 months is where you can get these things. So I'm not only excited about the Timberwolves, but it's good to see.
I was very excited to see it because, like, trying to look at these teams on paper, you always want to see who's going to beat the champ, who's going to take out. In order to win the West, you got to beat the defending champion, and that's the Nuggets. And to me, like, who matches up the best with the Nuggets? Could it be the Timberwolves with their size, with their defense, and what they can do? Who's covering Ant-Man out of Denver? I don't think anyone is. So I'm not saying the Timberwolves are better than the Nuggets, but I'm saying in a 7-game series it could get interesting. And with the Timberwolves right now, 9th best odds to win the West.
Really?
Plus 2,800 on BetMGM at the time of recording here. So I think they've played better than that, but as you said, got to stay healthy. Got to make sure it clicks. Got to make sure it does all that. So I wanted to bring them up because I'm as excited about them as you might be, and I don't know, I might sprinkle a little bit on that.
Real shit.
Me
too. I'm excited about the T-Wolves, just like we talk about OKC. All the young teams that you see, the young stars being able to take that next step. Ant-Man's in the conversation for MVP. Luka, Tatum. Like when I look at guys that just jumped out and just making an impact, you gotta put his name in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm mad. You just brought up Tatum. I'm mad because the sports books finally figured out. I was betting Jason Tatum to score 30 points every single game because the odds were just wrong. This is a guy that averaged 30 points a game last year, was going to have a similar role in the offense this year, and they were having him. First game of the year, he was plus 190 to score 30 points. I was like, take it. I'll take that every game. He might not score 30 every game, but if you give me those odds, I'm going to make money. Now it's back to where he should be. It's even money to score 30 because he can't be stopped. And his three-point shots hitting. He gets all the big possessions in the game. I love watching Tatum in that offense. How do you like Porzingis, though, in this mix in Boston?
I like Porzingis because he's a skilled big playing with other skilled wing guys. And then you got Drew. Drew Holiday and the what's the kid's name? Derek White.
Yeah.
That combination is just great because you can go irreplaceable. You can go who has the better flow. You can go both.
Yeah.
But they're mirror images of what they do and being able to distribute the ball, score the ball, and all this. And I think that's what's open. The fact of having Porzingis and Drew Holiday is opening it up for Jay Brown and Tatum.
Absolutely.
And Tatum just has to take those shots when they're there. And this is all about flow and continuity these next 2 months. I think November, December is about how well things flow, and then you're gonna see guys getting their rhythms.
Yeah.
And I think we should see some really, really good scoring coming up here. We got some, it's early on. I told you I'm kind of frustrated with seeing some of the injuries early and shit. But I'm watching the guys that are up and ready to go, man. I'm watching them watch. I anticipate like you just said, those odds on him scoring 30, he's in that talks. Jason Tatum, listen, he might be the MVP this year.
If Boston keeps going the way they're going, he's in the conversation.
He's going to be in that conversation because he has that star it too. He's the Luka, you know what I'm saying? Like he's one of the ones that's got that it.
Mavericks have also impressed early. You keep bringing up Luka.
Yeah.
That team is scoring in bunches. Kyrie hasn't really even played to the what he can do, and that team is still winning a bunch of games. Are we jumping in on the Mavs early? It is early, because I bring all this up because you said when I came on here last time, you said it for a while, those first 10 games mean a lot.
Everything.
You know what I mean? So you get the flow going, and Mavericks have had an excellent start for these first 10 games, at least so far. So Mavs, are we on a rocket ship here, or is this going to come back to the mean? Because they weren't expected to be much above 500.
I'm not jumping on it just so yet, you know? And then I think they like being kind of the underdog. I don't think they like, you know? I was worried about when Christian Woods left, just to see how they was going to fill that void of having a big. They figured it out. They figured it out. And it's about continuity and health with them. They just got to continue to go, get another 20, 30 games under there. Luka's coming out like fireworks. He's, you know, he's got that star it, you know? They're going to need it. And then, two, look at the schedule. They're not playing those big name games. They're not, you know what I'm saying? So if you can get in here, get these early wins, get confidence going, continuity. Kyrie's coming. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie is on his way of being able to.
He'll get back into the groove.
I mean, you already know. You can't count Kai out. You know, at some point it's going to hit, right? So, those are the ones that are kind of riding under the radar. Have you seen a jump in their odds since this little run? Or have they I'm sure their plus whatever has moved.
Absolutely, yeah. They've moved up in the West in terms of winning the West. I mean, it's still very much a Denver heavy odds. You know, Denver is going to be the favorite for a while, but Dallas has definitely improved. But there are some teams, as we said, like Minnesota, that haven't improved. So people kind of think there's fool's gold in there. I do not. One team that has dropped, and we're talking about the first 10 games. We talked about a lot of teams that have looked promising and looked great. One team that has dropped has been Memphis. And they're starting off as poorly as they've started off, one of the worst offensive teams in the league right now, obviously missing their talisman, their captain, and they're going to be missing him for the first 25 games of the season. But we figured this team would figure some stuff out on the fly for them, and it just has not worked out quite yet. At what point does it become a problem? Because if they start off, I mean, at this rate, we're looking at 5-20 before Ja comes back. I know that's probably not going to happen, but that's the pace they're going. And if you start off like that, it's really tough to get back into those, even the play-in tournament. So what are we looking at for Memphis here? Is it time to, you know, light the fire and signal the help signal, or are we just going to power through this?
I think they're going to definitely have to power through it, but I don't think Memphis had a bunch of expectations. You know what I think Memphis thought? I think Memphis thought that their past has shown that when Ja's been out, they've been able to continue to go. Well, they've never been in a position where they haven't started with their best player. He started it. They've been an Orwell machine. He's had to jump off it. It still goes.
Going,
Not only that, but you're not getting that productivity from Jared Jackson Jr. Now, he's not getting those opportunities that he's getting when Ja goes to the cup, or when he, you know what I'm saying? You seeing the Ja effect actually in the most reverse way you can see it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, let's keep it real. Squares, man, we didn't have Memphis in no conversations of doing anything. They don't got no expectations. Like,
but a playoff team.
I get it. I get it. Without your star player, with new pieces, and your big man ain't even here. In a scrappy ass West where you gotta have your pieces. I think this shows how strong the West has gotten. And it shows that you're gonna need more. You know, think about Bang. Think about the pieces they got. They got some young players that can play. They got some young pieces over there that you be like, you put some stock in, right? It's just you gotta have your star, man. Your star. That's why they allowed him to travel. He's around it, whatever. But until he hits the floor and you feel his impact of the game and what he brings to the game, they're going to be a slow road. They, and then watch when he comes back, how energized and how he lifts that morale of the team. The city's going to be lit again. You know what I'm saying? But for him not being there and being on the floor means a lot. And I think that we're starting to see it from a fan perspective and seeing like, oh shit, you really do need your best player on the floor, in the building, encouraging you. Like, God damn, Ja meant this much to the Grizzlies?
It means a lot.
Yes, actually, yes.
Can we talk about another guy that means a lot? And this is the bet I gave out on this show last time that I think I should be crowned for, because the odds changed almost immediately by the time we kicked off. Wemby is blocking the shit out of people. And San Antonio, even without a point guard, is winning some games that they shouldn't. There's suddenly a team that's fighting, flirting around a play-in spot, and Wemby is as good as advertised.
Listen, you don't want to fuck with the Spurs right now.
No.
Listen, and I like the kid Vassell.
Yes.
I like the kid for sale. Listen, you know what happened when Wemby came here? It made you watch the Spurs.
Yes, exactly.
The Spurs got 3-4 players, and I wasn't a Zach Collins fan. I'm a Zach Collins fan. I think his parity with Wemby is perfect.
Absolutely.
And, you know, Zach, too, won't smoke sometimes, so that's good to keep guards on the Frenchman and make sure he's good in San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fucks with Zach. Man, Zach's having a great year. Finishing around the bucket. He's a great complimenting player, can pass the ball. He can play make in the post. Oh, man, I love the Spurs, and I love watching them. I can't say that last year, man. When I watched them, they looked slow. They didn't look like they was into it. Pop didn't look like he was into it.
Pop looks 10 years younger.
I swear to God, I was thinking the same thing. He looks like he's having fun again.
Absolutely. He's rejuvenated.
You know what, too? It's not even really, I think he's letting them go, too. He's not really coaching it hard. I think he's came off the throttle a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It looks like he's a little more.
Trying to figure out what I need to fix here. Let's see what we got first.
And I think, too, he understands that we're in a new age. Yeah. And I think that his style of coaching for the yesteryears, I think that was needed. These young boys are more into development and steering this. You know what I'm saying? These young boys already come with their own kind of preloaded of who I am. And you got to honor that. Real shit. Like, you can't go off and be like, you know, you gotta go into it on some partnership shit. But the Spurs are fun to watch. Yeah. And Wemby is fun TV. He is unbelievable. Listen, I'm watching him just to see what I'm gonna see next. I didn't think that he would nutmeg some motherfucker.
He's doing Steph Curry dribble drills in the warm-ups.
His handle.
It's unbelievable.
Listen, I saw his warm-up. Yeah. Lord, nice, man.
I knew it was going to be like, I can't wait to watch this guy. I did not expect the appointment television aspect of it. Like, now I am yearning to see Wemby versus KD. I'm yearning to see Wemby versus it's unbelievable to watch these matchups.
I want to see him and Bo. You know, Shaq threw it out there. Shout to Shaq, threw it out there. We tapped on it a little bit. I think we said this. You look it up in our joints, but yeah, I want to see Bo just get out there. I just want to see the two because they're mirror images. You know what I'm saying? I think that we haven't seen enough of Bo, or I think on the bigger scale, because when you see his highlights and what he's able to do, he has some, man, Bo is that deal.
I think it does open up, like Wemby just being a unicorn does open up the fact that, some of these guys might get more looks. Like the Taco Falls of the world, where it kind of like, it doesn't work if he runs a traditional offense, but let's see what it works when we can actually let him be him.
So I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you used Taco, shot to Taco, right? Yeah. So Taco's what, 7'7", right? Yeah. Wemby's what, 7'4", right? Yeah. The point to all the fans out here who's watching this, right, and to this. So Taco's a post, right? Big guys, whatever. I'm looking at Nate. I'm looking at some Church short ass. Lord, under Wemby, Church probably wouldn't even reach Wemby's rib cage. So the bounce. Yeah. So him dribbling the ball from floor to just say chest. I'm gonna say stomach. Yeah. Is a whole grown man. Lord, y'all don't get this shit, bro. To come down, go behind your back and give any kind of candy. Bro, look how wide this is. So you gotta bring it in. He nutmegged the guard, man. Get the fuck out. I get it. Shout to both Bo and Wemby. When I'm watching this, man, fans in here arguing like, hey, Bo don't play hard. Fuck. I'm talking about skill here. Yeah. And the skill on this shit is unbelievable. 7'6" is supposed to be looking like Taco Fall. You're supposed to be looking like goddamn Yao Ming. You're supposed to be running like this, dog. You ain't supposed to be yanking that motherfucker coming down looking like Kenny Anderson. Man, I'm talking about the drill, bro. Y'all, man, go home and try the drill. Look up Wemby on the drill. Go home, practice that shit. Record yourself. Yeah. Send it in the goddamn certified.
Keep practicing until you can do it as smooth as he does.
All you fans out there talking this shit, let me see y'all go home and do this shit. Can't walk this much. Motherfucker, 7'4", I don't care. Man, 7 anything, dog. Walking that motherfucker? Like, God. Sure, yeah, that's what makes him the unicorn. Because he's doing guard-like stuff that we ain't seen traditional bigs do. And guys like Bo and Wemby are pushing the line from what we're seeing from the big man. You know, big man, you remember we was mad or laughing that the big was trail 3? And then, Cat Town started shooting that little weird ass, that little 3 that he loved to hit. And then B started shooting it, and then Kristaps Porzingis started shooting it, and you know what? You got to be a trail 3 to do. Now, here come the standards of what it's going to be like to be, like Wemby can play make. Wemby can not only play make, but pump fake, put on one and put on your head from the dots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it looks like he likes to dunk left-handed. Are you saying the same thing?
I'm not.
I think everything he finishes with his left.
That's insane.
He's right-handed, right?
Yeah.
At least that's what's.
And then to add another.
He's dunking you left. Like right.
I feel like when you're that tall, you could dunk with whatever the fuck you want.
What I'm saying is, if Isaac is coming down the lane and the scout report says Isaac is right-handed, I am prepared to block him right?
Yeah.
He getting to the cup, switching it. Bro, that's what I'm saying. It's a mind fuck here. And it's over everybody's head in the league, bro. The Spurs, shout to the Spurs. The geniuses at this shit. They built championships. They built countless decades of talent and putting teams together. So it does not shock me that they went out again, found a generational talent again for the third time, right? You could throw Tony Parker in there because he was a different beast. But being able to put this team together, I'm seeing it already. I'm watching Vassell.
Yeah.
I'm watching him.
Yeah.
You develop those young guys, bro, you're going to have something in less than 3 years.
For a long time.
For a long time. Yeah. And that you could put 4, 5 year, 6 year investments in, and then let's run.
And then you get people like you said, the Eddie Houses, the Posies coming into town because they want to be a part of it. So that only builds upon itself. They're
going to get players.
I'm pumped.
San Antonio will get players.
I'm pumped for it.
Will use
better than advertised.
Yeah, real shit. Listen, they say buy cribs when the interest rate is up, right? Go down to San Antonio, buy some land right now. You know what I'm saying? If you're in Vegas somewhere, even though a team ain't there, go get you some land, get you a parking lot somewhere. If you're in Seattle, go grab you something in Seattle right now. 226, that shit gonna hit like bang bang, you hear me? Yeah. Holler back at your boy, you hear me? I'm not so much worried about the point guard just because you have Trey over there now. If Trey gets hurt, then I'm worried. I don't think you need like a bona fide point to come down. I think you need to organize to get everybody together. But the league now is so built off of you can play make, I can play make, you can play make. Okay, we don't need no real point guard. We just need somebody to organize us, look at Phoenix. Phoenix needs a point guard, dog. I'm being dead ass. I don't like watching KD come down and have to.
He's the only one there.
Like, goddamn, dog. Like, y'all younger than bro. Y'all should be, I want to see, man, in a perfect world, I would love to. Chris Paul, this whole joint, this is perfect for him. But if you can get you a real traditional point guard, it will help the Spurs.
Yeah.
So although I'm not worried about it, if they do, perfect. But am I going to go out of my way? No. Because the point guard organizes you for when you go into the playoffs, gets you settled. He's the quarterback. Hey, chill. Yeah. We're going to go, okay, big fella, we're going to go through you, and he organizes all that. So, in terms of where the right now, I'm not too worried about it, but
because as you said, they're still trying to figure out how everybody gels here.
Yeah, and Pop is just letting it go.
Yeah,
Pop ain't he ain't on the throttle like he used to be. He's like, let me see what I got, and I think through that relaxed system, you're seeing Wemby. It used to be a fear that rookies were coming into the game like, man, I don't want to turn the ball over now. I'm gonna get. Now
we'll let him go.
Man, ask Tony Parker. Boy, first, what?
I think Pop's sitting back, pouring some wine, watching tape,
Pop
just
definitely
smiling,
blowing. Pop definitely blowing. Pop is definitely blowing that Spur pack. He got that Wemby pack. You know what I'm saying? That Duncan pack. He's smiling a lot more.
Enjoying.
He coming out, you know what I'm saying?
It's good. It's good to see the man like that.
I think it's good for the league. I think it's good for Pop, kind of rejuvenate him. And then, too, for fans. Man, we're watching the dynamic of the yesteryear and today actually work together in partners.
I think it's always good for the NBA when the Spurs are good.
I think so, too.
It's
because
they're
one of them. They're one of those pillars in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But shout out to the Spurs, man. And then, too, it's on the list. It's not priority, but to get a point guard is like third or fourth. Mm-hmm. Have you been watching the Sixers?
I've been watching them sparingly because to me, we're talking about teams that are figuring it out. I was worried that they weren't going to have it quite down yet, but I've been wrong because they've been winning. And Embiid's been on fire. Maxey's been on fire. Nick Nurse has them running great stuff over there. So we talked about the Sixers when I was here, and we were worried to see how it all played out because of the Harden situation. Now we've seen it without Harden. They were telling him to stay home, don't fly with us on the plane. The NBA was getting mad that he wasn't on an injury report. Now the Harden stuff is done. Right. This is the team. And they're winning games. And Embiid's like, y'all forgot about me. I'm still here. I'm still winning games. So is this sustainable? Do you think this roster can compete with the Bostons and the Milwaukees of the world in the long run?
I told P I thought that this trade worked for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I saw the pieces that went over to Philly, and I thought that if you put those pieces with Joel, those pieces don't have any egos. If they do, they're hard workers. They go out, and those are, clock guys. They punch in. They, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I like the pieces that actually came to Philly.
I thought it was a great trade for Philly based on the situation they were in.
Absolutely. And then two, taking a cloud and removing it.
Yeah.
And then having fresh air.
Yeah.
Guys look rejuvenated.
Yeah.
You don't have the distractions. And now they're just focusing on basketball.
There were people talking about, like, the outside perspective, no one in Philly, but people talking about, like, well, now they're going to trade Embiid next. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? This team is clearly Embiid's team, always has been. They would never let this guy go.
Ever.
Or else you got to refund season ticket people, you know what I mean? So this, as you said, this is the team. They brought in professionals from the Clippers to make sure we're here for a reason.
And I think that the players they picked up are great for that system of what Nick Nurse is doing. He has a star. He has 2 stars, actually. And then you got great complementary players like Tobias Harris and the guy Batum that you got from the Clippers and those pieces that fit with what you're doing. And it's the East Coast, so it's a little more slow. The pace ain't it ain't like the West.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that Philly doing well. I actually think that they're going to be that third tier, watching how the Cavaliers and watching how the Knicks are kind of struggling. I see Philly being that firm third, fourth team.
I think it'll be a hard out.
You think so?
It's not going to be easy to knock them out. You can't write them off. You know what I mean? Because not only with Embiid, but as you said, all the professionals on that team, and then Nick Nurse is a great coach. And you said the second superstar. Maxey said, I'm here.
And he's not all the way in the scouting report. Like, you know what he can do. You've seen him. You haven't seen him on the volume.
No.
Maxey's going to give you a 50 ball at some point. He has not only the clip, the energy, but the IQ.
Yeah.
Knows how to get to the line. He's embedded in this new style of how young boys play. The young guard goes, gets you on the hip. He has it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've been following him a long time. Sam Cassell had him in development, just like he had Shea Alexander, some of the guards there, and John Wall. So I expected him to make this jump at some point, and here we are.
He was waiting for it.
Yeah.
He was waiting for it. Let this stuff pass. I'm here.
I actually got them in front of Milwaukee right now, just because of.
I want to talk about Milwaukee. Interesting.
I say this: when you get it's not like you get 2 great players and boom, it works. You got other pieces that got to, it's got to. So I'm seeing Milwaukee go through that new system, and then we keep forgetting they got a new coach. They got a whole new system, and then the coach just quit. And then, it's like we haven't really dug into the whole Milwaukee and just really put it on the board. But when I actually looked at them, I was like, they got major things they got to figure out before they start doing A, B, and C.
Can I ask that about Milwaukee? Because I don't know this. I know the head coach's names. I know what the head coaches do, but there's so many assistants on the bench. So when a head assistant gets fired, or if there's some type of infighting between the head coach, like how much does the assistant coach do for you guys?
So the head coach in basketball is the final say. Yeah. But Tibbs is the defensive coach. Armand and Kevin Hill are the offensive guys. Yeah. So we had a question on defense. I run to Tibbs, be like, Tibbs, what's the cover on Derrick Rose? And he'll be like, Derrick Rose, we're doing this. Damn it, make sure you know what I'm saying? If the offensive question, I would go ask Armand, or you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you go to Doc, it's more of what you want after the, okay, so look, and then he's giving you more first, second, third plays. Yeah. In this situation, when Terry Stouts was, I don't even know what he was, the offensive or the defensive. Yeah. So imagine a coach gets a job. He comes in, I gotta grab my assistants. He grabs the assistants. Yeah. With the assistants, hey, offensively, I want us to be like this. Defensively, I want us to be like this. He goes to the offensive coach, what are some things that you can bring, So choosing an offensive assistant, you had to go into what he knows, what's his specialty, what's his thing, same thing with defense, right? So now I build that up. We make the trade. I bring in. You got history with it. I got all this going, and then all of a sudden you quit. I can't do this no more. I got to do it. Whatever the reason is. Yeah. So now not only we're in the season, I gotta get somebody to do your who, and then I don't get the list. Yeah. I don't get the summer to interview 5. I'm going. So I gotta put a replacement in, if not do it myself. Interview motherfucker that can fill in the sin while play.
Yeah. While
trying to establish a system. Hey, look, so we're on the fly. This is what I'm doing. Why I ain't got you? So you feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you put all of this into, if this is an assembly line and we was making like something like of a product, the product would look weird. It would look indifferent.
Yep.
If we were supposed to be putting cream in here and all of a sudden, nigga, who wasn't putting cream in? Now you doing cream and you, it'll look different. So I'm looking at the product of the Bucks to be different because of all of this little small stuff. Now, talent overrides all of that and it makes you winning. You don't even look at some of the barrels, but when you pull up the hood, you're like, hold up, the damn spark plug ain't even, this ain't even, that's what it looks like.
Gotcha.
He's having to fill a bunch of voids.
Yeah.
And when you lose an assistant, especially like Terry, man, very gifted, been in our league for a long time.
Head coach, yeah.
And has, he knows Dame better than probably anybody on that staff, right? Then you lose him, man, that's major.
Yeah.
And it goes into play. Will they recover? Absolutely they will. How long? No. And then two, man, how many games is this gonna cost you? Because you're gonna have to give up some games, and it's gonna be some hurdles that you're gonna hit. And then now here come a team like Philly, been together. It's got a new coach too, but we've been together a little longer. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love these parodies for the league myself, because this is what keeps me in it. You know what I'm saying?
But I asked that question too, because as you said, how many games is it going to cost you? And you're talking about Philly coming up to catch a second seed. But also, when we entered this NBA season, this was a two-man race in the East. It was Celtics and Bucks. And we know how hard it is to play Game 7 in Milwaukee or Game 7 in Boston. And Milwaukee might get caught by the 76ers, but at the same time, Celtics seem to be traveling farther and farther away from them. So I'm worried about that early in the season, Milwaukee losing the touch with the Celtics for that overall one seed and home court advantage in the playoffs, because I think it's huge, especially with a team like Boston. So I like your analogy of pulling up the hood, being like, it works on the outside, the car runs, but there's smoke coming out.
The radiator, something, the spark plug, look at this, the hose went in, you know what I'm saying? And to me, Boston has to win the East.
The one seed.
They got to be one seed.
Yeah.
I don't think that they can go into this year's playoffs being second or third, not with the two heavy teams. Now, you hope that somebody on the bottom gives a body, and you know what I'm saying? Rap, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm watching how Miami came on, and Miami came on, and wasn't nobody prepared for it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, they went through the Bucks like, all right.
Almost swept them.
You hear me?
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying to you? And they won on the road. So if Boston is going to kind of have a kryptonite to that formula, they got to win the East. They got to be first. And then I think now you work backwards. So Chris Middleton is one of them. Remember we talked earlier about 4 or 5 teams? He's one of them ones that look like the spark plug ain't all the way or something. I needed to get a new spark plug. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So something's there that's not all the way out. Yeah. And he doesn't look all the way healthy. Yeah. He doesn't look like that Middleton that we know, right? On top of all the other problems. That's fucking Milwaukee.
It's a lot. It's a
lot.
lot.
And then Dame is used to coming out being it.
Yeah.
You know, Portland, I can, shoot what I want. Here I gotta, I got some other players, I got A, B, C, and D. So that's an adjustment. Listen, I told y'all, man, I think teams like this, and it's gonna be probably like 7 teams that need like 20, 25 games, man. And we're gonna get into that flow, and I think once that flow starts, we're gonna see the league, it's gonna start taking like these new turns and these new twists. We're like, oh shit, he got a rhythm. Oh, what?
Yeah. It takes a while to get there, though, for some.
Yeah, real shit.
And as we know, like those games early cost you late when it comes to those playoff seedings, and they're very, very important. I'm interested to see how it all works out. I'm very excited, very happy that my Celtics are doing as well as they are. I'm from Boston, a huge Celtics fan. Very nice to see that flow as easily as it does. I still have the same questions that I had about their bench depth, but hey, loving what I'm seeing so far.
Seeds are locked in, man. And two, I don't think, up until watching them against Minnesota, I didn't see a team more physical or more active than them.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was active.
Yeah.
Ant-Man wanted smoke, man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man wanted smoke. Ant-Man wanted smoke. He was on some like, nah.
He's ready. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just playing with a different energy. It was almost like that, it's crazy. As I'm sitting here talking to y'all, I'm hearing the Instagram story music that I like watching to some of the content. I just can't mimic it. I'm gonna show you the poster in which I'm talking about and the music I'm talking about. But as I'm sitting here saying, I can hear it. But yeah, I don't want to say I was worried about that, but I saw like Indiana. Have you been watching Indiana?
Amazing.
Indiana got like 6 or 7 guys.
Offensively, they're amazing.
Listen, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. Like Ant was playing like them. Like when I watch Indiana got like 4 or 5 guys that like they shaking their head like yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I like watching them. They are my new team to watch right now.
Well, I was going to bring them up later about teams that you like to bet on, so to speak, teams that we like in certain matchups. Yeah, but I have to say, the thing about Indiana, amazing offensively, and as you said, when they have a couple of guys that are ready to go, but then when they got to play on the defensive side of the court, it's a shit show, Kevin. They let up 155 to Boston without Halliburton on the court, but 155 to Boston, it could have been more. Like, they took the starters out at the end of the third quarter. And so, like, I love watching Indiana play, and I love betting points on them. I love betting people are going to score both sides, but it sucks defensively, man.
I just want some competitiveness. You know what I'm saying? I want to see.
They're what I expected Washington to be.
Now, they play hard, though. I like watching. Listen, so you're going to have tiers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I like how they compete as young guys.
Yeah.
I love how they play together as young guys. I watched them play the Spurs. They were, Turner is motivated more than any other big out here. He protects the rim. I like their team. I like their team.
They're exciting.
I like
They're very
their team.
exciting to watch.
They're like the Kings to me.
I would not bet on them to win a game. I'd bet on them to score a lot of points.
Yes. I'm doing over and under with them. Nothing else. Let's get the game picks. Let's get it. So we got the Heat going into the A. What's this, a Saturday? This is a Saturday, so Friday night going to be jumping.
Uh-huh.
Who are you taking?
Listen, Bill Simmons calls them the zombie Heat for a reason, because they do not go down. They cannot be counted out. I will say, the regular season is different with the Heat than it is in the playoffs with the Heat. And I think Atlanta is on fire right now offensively, and we haven't even seen Trae Young come to the full powers. But the team with Quinn Snyder running the show, they have so many players that can do it. It's such a good, well-rounded, well-organized team, and they are beating people up, and good teams as well, especially recently. I love Atlanta in this game. So I know the Heat are going to come back and bite me. I don't care. The Heat, they can't score right now. Atlanta's scoring so many more points than them. Atlanta's doing better and defensively than they. It's just Atlanta, to me, is much more well-rounded right now, a finely tuned machine right now, and we haven't even seen the best of their best player yet. I think Atlanta takes this one at home. And we didn't get to talk about this, I like Atlanta to do some things in that weirdly called in-season tournament as well. And Atlanta, to me, is a young team that wants to prove some people wrong in November and December. Yes. They're not waiting until June, so I like Atlanta.
I like Atlanta, too. Atlanta got some young parts to them that are making major strides.
Yes.
Confidence-wise. When I watch them play, it's one kid Atlanta got. What's the light-skinned kid that keep dunking everything and looking at you like Jalen Johnson. He just dunks everything, and everything's a mug and a grill. Like that new energy. I like Atlanta. I like Atlanta in this. Just because I think the Heat are not seasoned. They're not a seasoned team. They mope and they kind of do enough just to get in, and then when playoffs get here, Eric really has those guys locked in, and they're another team. But I like how they looked against the Lakers.
Yeah.
It was at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bron, you got to get up for Bron.
Yeah.
But like that, I saw they was having like real weird scoring bunches where they couldn't score the ball, or again, it could be just early in the season. Again, I told you,
This is what they were all last year too. The Heat.
A little bit, right?
All last year. I mean, they came in as what, the 8 seed, the 9 seed, and they came in with that clunkiness, and then in the playoffs it was a different beast. Yeah. So it's tough to count them out. But again, regular season, it's weird.
So I'm gonna take the Hawks in this too.
Yeah.
Sunday. So 5 o'clock game Sunday. T-Wolves going to Golden State. Golden State is coming off of a back-to-back.
So this is their second game in 2 days?
Yeah. So you got to say a hype. So one thing I noticed about Minnesota, and when you play a team that has something like the champions or you're the Boston 5-0, comes in with that chip. You think he has that? You think he has that chip?
100,000%.
How could you not, right? It's Steph, right?
100,000%. He's coming in. It's like, this is my show now. The thing that I worry about, though, is we talked about the Timberwolves a lot. You brought up Golden State before we even knew this game was happening. That's kind of an Achilles heel for the Rudy Gobert defense. Are you worried about Steph and them bringing them out, Draymond playing the 5? Like, yes, it's the second night of a back-to-back, but Golden State seems to have the Timberwolves number just strategically, no?
Yeah, when you put it like that, T-Squares, God damn.
But does Ant-Man come out and say, nah, I got this, don't worry, 40 on me?
I think, yeah, I'm going to take the Timberwolves in this.
Take the Timberwolves?
I do not like that the Golden State is coming off of a back-to-back and they're in rhythm. So when they come tonight, when they enter the game coming to Sunday, they are going to be already in rhythm.
Yep.
The T-Wolves been playing great, big to big, like just bigger than, versus small ball.
Yeah.
And I think they're still figuring out how to use Rudy at times, right?
Yeah.
If Golden State can get into pace, then I think you give it to Golden State. But if Ant-Man comes out and you have enough young guys with McDaniel, Ant-Man, Towns, that you can kind of run with them, then I'll give it to the younger team and I'm going to give it to the T-Wolves. But it is on the road. The Warriors play really well at home. Chris Paul, that second unit.
That's what's going to get me, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you start playing with that, I actually like Golden State's second unit better than I like, obviously, Minnesota's. But, again, that Ant factor. I watch how he imposed his will on the Celtics and got extra stuff and got them into the overtime. And then in the overtime was just super. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Just stock is up right now. I'm going to go T-Wolves.
I'm going to go with the Warriors just because, as you said, the starting lineups are going to be awesome to watch. But even if Minnesota falls behind a little bit in that starting lineup, that second lineup for Golden State is so much better. Yeah. And they won't be able to get those bench points to get themselves back in the game. Even though second out of a back-to-back, I think the Warriors win this one. And it makes me mad because I love Ant-Man, but I'm going with the Warriors.
5:30 game, too. You got to play on that. You know what I'm saying? Like that afternoon game, the worst.
Really?
Man, listen, because you know what it is? You don't get your
routine.
Usually you're used to a 7-8, not 7-8, but you're used to a day of just being able to, chill your body.
Routine, yeah.
Man, look at your box. You wake up, it's a shooter, boom, I'm on the bus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're just out of the rhythm of what you're used to.
Interesting.
And now, your body, when you're 20, from 28, you can, I'm instant coffee. You know what I mean? You go to like 29, you start getting to 35, you gotta go outside and rev it up and go back in. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never in them cold joints where you go outside, crank the car up and go back inside and you go, ooh. It's one of them type things. NFL, we got the NFL.
Halfway through the season. I came on here at the preseason. I gave you a bunch of picks. I gave you a bunch of bets, a bunch of things I was leaning. And now we're here at the halfway mark of the regular season. So much has changed.
So much.
There are teams that we thought would do well. Philly is the top of the league defending a NFC championship. We knew they'd be there. Church's Cowboys are still a piece of shit team. They're fake as hell. We know that.
Sorry, Church.
But now we're coming up to halfway point. These teams have sort of shown themselves and what we're going to be. What are we going to do? How are we moving forward? I'm excited for it. It's time to make some more money on it. Now we know these teams.
Man, did the 49ers get better during the trade?
Oh, yes. The trade for Chase Young, I think, is huge for them.
Chase Young and Bosa on the
great move.
And don't the 49ers have another guy in there with Bosa already? I'm going blank on his name. 90-something.
Arik Armstead. He's the D tackle for them. And then they have Fred Warner behind him at the linebacker. They have the players all over the place. And they needed Chase Young because they weren't getting to the quarterback really as much. And Chase Young can do that. So I'm very excited for that. Problem with the Niners is that offense has fallen behind a little bit because teams have figured out some stuff about Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey might come out and win the MVP for them. He's running the ball so well, but they need to sort of get some stuff flowing on the offensive side. Big game for them. Jaguars this week. Both teams coming off a bye. Jaguars, very surprising team. Very interesting how that plays out. It's a lot of fun. This NFL season is a lot of fun. Don't you dare make fun of my Chargers anymore. We're getting off the mat, Kevin. We were knocked out early. We're getting off the mat.
Okay, I'm with you. We just bobbing and weaving, and I got caught a couple times. And I'm like, man, are we worried? Like,
we're getting off the. We were worried. We were definitely worried.
I'm about to say we were staggered. You know what I'm saying?
They got probably the biggest game of the week.
Yeah, let's go to their game.
Let's get it.
Lions, Chargers, the two teams you were high on.
Hey, listen, we called that though. We called the Lions early. You know what I'm saying? P.O. me a bottle of wine on that, yo. Make sure we.
Lions are the 3-point favorites on the road against the Chargers.
The
so
Lions.
We got Chargers.
Lions 3-point favorites
Come
against
here.
the Chargers.
SoFi.
Who you taking in that?
It's a tough one, man, because as you said, Lions on the road, they're not really on the road. The Chargers do not have a home field advantage at SoFi. Every team, especially popular team that comes into SoFi, those fans inhabit that stadium. And I know personally, people from Michigan traveling out here during the it's 7 feet of snow in Michigan right now. They're coming out to LA to enjoy this weekend in this game. It's going to be going crazy. It's the best Lions team in decades.
Right.
They're populating that stadium this weekend, so I'm worried about that. Lions also coming off of their bye, getting healthy, getting the running back David Montgomery back probably. This team is slowly coming together. So many great draft picks. And if you think I'm betting against the fucking Chargers, you're an idiot. I'm going with Justin Herbert because when you look at this stuff, Lions 6-2, Chargers 4-4. Chargers have a long hill to climb if they need to make any moves in this AFC playoff race. That 7 seed is floating farther and farther away. They need this win more than the Lions do. I think they looked really good against, especially defensively, against a very bad Jets team. But the Chargers never at any point were worried about that Jets game. They came in, took care of business, and walked right through it. Lions can get got. We saw Baltimore beat the piss out of them. I think I think this Chargers team can get the better of the Lions in a very exciting game. Probably not taking the money line, even though they need the win, but I like Chargers +3. I think it's a very close game. Yeah.
I'm going to take the Lions, man.
Yeah.
Lions playing well this year.
Yeah.
And they just look different.
It's definitely different.
They look different, and they playing different. They look inspired. Yeah, I'm taking the Lions in this.
I think the Lions are a great bet. If you like them in this game, I think the Lions are a great bet to try and pick them, whatever their win total is, or if you can get them to even be the 1 seed in the NFC, because their schedule, especially after this game, is very, very easy. Not a lot of tough games left on their schedule. So if you like them winning this game, I like them kind of catching Philly for that 1 seed that they're only 1 game behind.
Really?
So just want to put that, put that on the fire to let you think about.
Are they for real, or
the Lions?
Are the Lions for real?
I think they're very much like Miami in the AFC.
Scary.
Miami's a very scary team dependent on the matchup.
Yeah.
Miami has not defeated a team above 500 yet.
Saw that.
The Lions have beaten the Chiefs on the road week 1, but that schedule, they've lost to some teams that they've gotten their pants kicked in, and then they've beaten teams that they should beat. The rest of their schedule, the Green Bays, the Chicagos, those teams aren't good. Minnesota, not too good. Lions are going to win all these games because they're better than them, and they're a well-coached team. But when we get to the playoffs, might have a different song to sing.
Listen, we got the Jaguars going to San Fran. San Fran going to the Jaguars. Yep. They got I actually got San Fran 3 points in this.
It's crazy.
I like the Jaguars at home. Yeah. I'm just saying. They play different. They look different.
Yeah.
And they're one of them teams, some sneaky teams that you kind of, and then you see the pieces, you're like, oh, I forgot they had, oh yeah, he's over there, and Trevor, oh yeah. I like Jacksonville in this, but I want to hear who you taking in this. Because I love Niner game.
They're fun games. Every time they're fun.
They're hurt too. They're beat up a little bit too, right?
Yeah, that bye week for San Francisco came at the right time for them to get healthy. Yep. The problem is San Francisco is playing Jacksonville also coming off of their bye. In fact, San Francisco is playing 4 teams this season where their opponent's coming off the bye. It's a terrible schedule for them, and that's why a lot of people kind of picked the Niners to not have as many wins as last year because of that schedule. And for me, coming into this season, I thought the Jaguars would be good, but not 6-2 good because of the way the schedule is set up. We talk about intangibles and the rest and we talk about that all the time. Jaguars played back-to-back games in London. Didn't take a week off, played again on a Sunday. Didn't take a week off, played again on a Thursday. Had to go on the road again on a, this bye week for them came when they had to be the most tired they could possibly be. I expected them to lose a bunch of these games early because of rest stuff, and now they're 6-2. Jacksonville's a really, really good team, and they've proven it with what they've done so far. I think I'm with you on Jacksonville here at home, especially as a home underdog. Yeah. What disrespect to have a home underdog. San Fran has lost a bunch of games in a row, should have gotten better. The Chase Young addition will help, and on paper are the better team than Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's been getting disrespected all year long, by me included. I'm in on the Jaguars right now. Jacksonville +3.
At least you admitted it.
Yeah.
If you are a 49ers fan, are you worried? And then 2, what level is the worry, 1 to 10?
Depends on what your goal is. If your goal is the Super Bowl, I'd be worried. If your goal is to be, contender, I would not be worried because Seattle, to me, has shown as many flaws as you have.
Right.
So I do think you still have 2 games against Seattle. I think that division is still yours to win, and you should be in there in the end. But do you match up with Philly? I don't think so. Do you match up with some of the contenders of the AFC? I don't think so. And this is a team that I had picked as my Super Bowl team last year. I love this roster. I love this coach. I just think they've shown a lot of flaws. Chase Young could change that defense. They need to get to the quarterback, and Chase Young could do it. But I think especially defensively, they can be passed on, especially long balls, and that was not the case past few years. So they can be had, and I think Trevor Lawrence has a huge day in this game.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'll pick Jaguars.
Yeah.
Then I asked him the question. I picking the Jaguars. I told you I like the Jaguars at home, and the Jaguars are one of them sneaky-ass teams that just – I told you, when I saw pieces on there, Henderson and Trevor, and I was like, what? And I was like, let me ask you a question. Do you like all of the travel outside of the U.S. during the season like this?
No.
I think that you do this in preseason.
Yeah.
You get fans. When it is games that mean something, meaningful games, travel is like your opponent, man. And then the further you are, and acclimating to that time zone, man, going to Germany, going to London, that's like you got to go like the top of the week to be able to get 3 days of acclimating to that, right?
We had Kansas City, Miami in Germany this past week, and that's a game that could decide the AFC 1 seed.
See?
And that was played on foreign soil, and who knows what would have happened if that was played in a home stadium. And then now this week, the German game is Indy and New England. They can have that game. You can send the shitty games. The big games, I think, need to stay here because it means too much for the overall standings.
Yes.
I do want to talk about one game, though, because it's my best bet of the week.
Let's get it.
Okay, great.
So this is the T-Squares bet of the week right here. Let's get it.
When it comes to these in-season games, week by week, the NFL is a very regimented schedule, and we are we like to over-exaggerate things. We like to see and overreact to certain things that happened the week before, and a lot of bettors like to look at that stuff, see how the public is going one way, and then zag the other way the coming week. Because as you know, with the NFL, nobody's perfect. Everybody can be had. If a team looks perfect the week before, it's likely not going to be perfect 2 weeks in a row. What was the biggest story this past week from the NFL slate? It was Josh Dobbs going to Minnesota, as we talked about earlier, and suddenly becoming the QB du jour, leading a team he had just entered to a victory against a division-leading Atlanta, learning the plays on the fly, drawing them in the sand, throwing the ball, running the ball, doing everything he can. He got a nickname from NASA. NASA, people flying to the fucking moon, named him the Pastronaut. Okay, this guy's taken over the world today. NBC's talking about him. It's a wonderful story. And now not only that, Minnesota themselves, they lost their QB to an Achilles injury. They lost their best wide receiver to a hamstring injury. They started out 0-3. They started out 1-4, and now they're 5-4.
Wow.
Now they're looking at the playoffs. Everything's coming up roses in Minnesota, and now they host a crappy Saints offense, a Saints team that hates each other. They got Derek Carr, the quarterback, yelling at the wide receiver, yelling at this guy. The coach is making dumb moves. They had 5 turnovers. They forced 5 turnovers against the Bears, who are crappy, and still could only beat them by a touchdown. Like, the Saints are just a joke of a team, and they're coming in. Saints are favored by 2.5 against Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut. Everyone's going to be betting Minnesota this week except for me. It's a plug your nose, don't even watch the game, take the Saints minus 2.5 because the world is on Minnesota, and I'm going the opposite way. Josh Dobbs, great guy. Okay quarterback. Minnesota cannot run the ball, and New Orleans defense does not let you pass the ball. I think they get punched in the mouth this week. And Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, loves sending blitzes, loves sending guys at New Orleans. New Orleans has done really well protecting Derek Carr and getting the ball out quick, which is what you need to do against the blitz. I hate the Saints. I love Josh Dobbs. I'm still betting the Saints minus 2.5. You got to zag, Kev. You got to zag.
I love that. We're going to look for it. Let's look for it. We're going to look for it. Man, that's it, man. Those are picks of the week. Let's get it. Let's go. We out.
My best bet for the future of the NFL season here at the halfway mark is going to make Baltimore Ravens fans very angry. I'm sorry, I do have Lamar as my MVP, don't worry, but you're not winning the division. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's Joe Burrow, who is now finally healthy again. He's throwing it all over the joint. Lou Amarillo's running a heck of a defensive squad. I love this team, and I love their chances to win this division, especially at the price. Plus 320. Yeah, they're in last place now at 5-3, only one game back of those Ravens. I think they come back with a vengeance, with a very fun schedule here, and they're better than the rest of those teams. I love them to rip off a few wins. I love them to flirt around with the 1 seed in the AFC. Big on the Bengals, have been all year. Cincinnati is winning this division. Sorry again, Baltimore.
There ain't no law out here. Only outlaws.
Want to wager on that? It's hard work. Few men survive long enough to be good at it.
I never give up. My job is to protect everyone. You ready to ride?
Lawman Bass Reeves. New series now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus. Use promo code BASS to get 1 month free.